thank you so much for again for the opportunity to to share and be part of this initiative, this activity today. I'll be sharing my screen. So again, I'm Chris Kuzupili. I'm public policy manager for Facebook here in the Philippines. And we thank the Department of ICT, the Cybersecurity Bureau with the leadership of Director Reyes and Mindanao Cluster 1, of course, Director Kamba. Hello, good morning po. And we thank you for the opportunity to share the work together with our partners in keeping our community safe and informed. Now that everyone is spending more time online during this global pandemic. I'll be starting our session for today with a quick introduction, and kindly allow me to share the reason why these kinds of initiatives are very important for us at Facebook. We have over 3 billion people across the world using our services each month. And when we talk about services, we talk about Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, the apps that you love, and also WhatsApp. And as you can see, our community is pretty big, and the amount of content being posted every day is even bigger. And we can imagine these to be bigger as people are spending more time online. And it's a good reminder that most of these content are actually good. These are content that your family and friends share about what they ate, about the things that they care about. And for us, it's very important with a big community such as 3 billion people all over the globe. It is important for us to come up with a safety approach, and we've developed this 5-point approach to keep everyone safe on our platform. First, we have policies. We have rules that say what people can and cannot share on Facebook, and we call them community standards. Second, we have tools. We've developed tools that give people the power to control what they see, what others see about them on Facebook, as well as tools to report harmful content to us. Third is about resources, and these are things that we've developed to make sure that we're providing the right support for our community at any point of the service. And fourth, and probably one of the most important work that we're doing, is about partnerships. And this is a good example of that, a great example, actually. Working with the Department of ICT, with the Department of Education, our child safety partners, and a lot of safety experts in globally and also in the Philippines, to make sure that we are strengthening our policies, creating tools, and building resources that are relevant for our community together with their help. And fifth is about feedback. We have a 3 billion community, and it is important for us that we also get feedback from the people who are using our services each day, to make sure that we can just improve, we could improve our tools and the service that we provide to everyone. I mentioned about policies, and just a quick one on this one is, again, we have a very diverse community. As you can see, the 3 billion people is interacting across borders, across different belief systems, cultures, and traditions. And it is very important for us to come up with policies that will find the right balance between giving people a place to express themselves, and also promote a welcoming and safe environment for everyone. And so when we develop these policies, we made sure that they are principled. We made sure that they are operable. We make sure they are applied to real situations that are being encountered by our community on our platform. And also we make sure they are explicable. That's why we publish our community standards, so that everyone's empowered to know what they can and they cannot share on our services. When we talk about principles, of course, priority for us is safety. We know that when people are not feeling safe on our services, they will not go back to Facebook. They will not go back to Messenger. They will stop interacting and share the content that matter to them, and stop building communities. So for us, it's very important that they are feeling safe, so we could have that meaningful engagement online. Second is about voice, and this is something that we want to give everyone a platform to share their voice, their opinion, but we want to make sure that they're not using their voice to harm other people. So this has to be still within the boundaries of safety. Third is about fairness. Again, having that 3 billion community, we have a very diverse community. We want to make sure that our policies are enforced to everyone and applied the same way to wherever they are. We have a number of policy areas at Facebook. When you go to the facebook.com/community standards, you'll find there are more than 25 policy areas. from bullying and harassment to terrorism. And I just want to share with you a couple of policy areas that we have around safety. First is about using your authentic identity. We know that people who use their real identity are less likely to engage in abusive behavior online. So these are first line of defense. Second is about graphic violence. We don't allow people to share any graphic content on our services. We sometimes allow this for awareness purposes, but then we don't allow them to show up in the screens of those who are under 18. We don't allow nudity and pornographic content. We don't allow non-consensual sharing of intimate images. This is commonly known as sextortion or revenge porn. And the fifth one, it's very important for us, is not allowing child sexual abuse materials on our services, regardless of any context. We sometimes take further steps to actually disable people who share these kinds of content on our services. So we also don't allow human trafficking at any point of the human trafficking process, from recruitment to facilitation and to actual exploitation. And we don't allow bullying and harassment. And the last part is about suicide and self-injury. And we've been working with law enforcement agencies and our partners also, including the Department of ICT, to make sure that we are crafting the right policies here, and we are providing help to our community if they are in these kinds of situations. As I mentioned earlier, we build tools, and this is all about giving you the power to take control of your online experience. It's about you being in charge of your account, of the people that you want to speak to, you want to interact with. And we usually divide this into four big chunks. First is about security, and that's something that we'll be discussing in the next sessions of this webinar. How can you protect your account? How can you keep your account safe with the security measures that we have in place? Privacy, how can you protect your information online? Safety, how to make sure that you are in control of the people that you interact with. And lastly, about managing your the time that you spend online and the notifications that you have in our services. So very important tools. And when we talk about tools, we also include our tools around reporting and our proactive detection. So we have combined human reviewers and also automated systems to make sure that we are removing, detecting content in our services, bad content in our services, and removing them at scale. So this is just a quick example of the progress that we're making in this area and keeping our community safe. You can see here we publish every quarter a report where we share the number of content that we remove, and also attached to that is how many of these content were actually removed proactively, meaning before anybody reported them to us. And you can see here we've made progress in making sure 99% of these content were removed before anybody reported them. On the resources, just a very quick one. So we've developed the help center, wherein you can go to if you've encountered anything on our services, any problem or issues. We also developed the Facebook Safety Center to provide you with resources, for parents coming from, another parent who've also encountered challenges online. A youth portal wherein there are resources especially for youth, made by youth, and with the youth perspective in mind. We also have specialized resources around online well-being and bullying prevention. And fourth, as I mentioned earlier, one of our most important work is about partnerships, and this is about understanding the value of working together in building that safe and positive and informed online community and online environment. And for us, it's really we're working with global partners all over in different countries, more than 500 safety partners, and also with a lot of government agencies, NGOs, to make sure that we're getting the insights of how our community are using our services, and just to get better at providing these services. And as we also develop, through partnerships, we develop these policies, tools, and also resources. We also invest in education programs, and that's exactly what we're doing today. We launched this program, Digital Tayo, last year, and the goal of the program really is to build a global community of responsible digital citizens. And this is by building awareness, educating everyone with the 21st century skills around safety and privacy, respectful online behavior, and also how to spot false news. Given the fact that everybody has now access to mobile phones, 15 years ago, digital literacy is all about, how to set up your computer, your CPU, your keyboard, how to type properly. But now with everyone having access to technology, with gadgets, it is important that we are also empowered to and equipped to have these critical skills to keep ourselves safe and also informed online. And that's exactly what we're doing together with the Department of ICT through this webinar series. So again, thank you so much to everyone, to the Department of ICT, and probably I'll end my quick intro with with the thought that building a safe and positive community online is shared responsibility with everyone. We share this responsibility with the Department of ICT, with a lot of government agencies, policymakers, NGOs. That's why we're doing this program. But also we share this responsibility with you, with all the viewers now, with you being part of our community to make sure that we are acting safe and we are being responsible in all our engagements online. So thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Sir Chris, for that very informative introduction. All right, so now let's proceed to the training proper. So we'll not hold you for too long. This is just a quick, brief introduction of our digital tayo trainer for today. He is a morning show DJ from 99.5 Play FM in Metro Manila and an experienced events host for both live and online events. He is also a digital tayo trainer who has been executing various modules with Facebook and AHA Behavioral Design. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker for today, Mr. Jello Andres. Sir, take it away.
Hi everybody, good morning. Magandang umaga sa lahat ng sumasali pa lang ngayon sa ating Facebook Live. And of course, good morning to all our participants in this webinar series, right? So my name is Jello and I'll be your digital tayo trainer today. So sabi nga ni Chris kanina, no, Facebook has been very, very proactive in keeping our online space very safe for everybody. And of course, it's our turn to become responsible digital citizens, because these systems, these entities cannot do all the work alone. They need our help to actually be the people on the ground and become responsible for ourselves and for our community. Okay, so we'll use the Q&A box, we'll use the chat box for Facebook, and for this meeting, for this webinar. Just let me know what you guys want to hear. If you have questions, just type it out. Okay, all right. So let's start with defining. Actually, I mentioned kanina, ano ba yung digital citizen? Okay, so we are actually digital citizens and we don't know it. Okay, so this is a person who confidently uses digital technologies to understand information online and interact positively with others. Okay, so what do I mean by understand information online? These are the steps that we're going to take today for us to better pinpoint ano ba yung nakikita nating type of information sa online space, right? And of course, as soon as we do that, we will become critical thinkers as we go through these steps. Okay, so like what I said, number one, we identify the type of information. Once we know that type of information, then we'll be able to spot false news. And of course, once we've spotted that type of information, okay, false news to ano yung gagawin natin? Diba? We can't just leave it there. So I will also be able to teach you or let you guys know some steps on how to report false news or what else to do once we've spotted these things. Okay, so before we start, I'd like to invite everybody to join me in answering a quick pre-test. Okay, so kahit tong pre-test na to, we'll be doing it from Facebook. Okay, so I know you guys are watching on Facebook Live, and you guys might be watching through this webinar series as well. So what I want you to do is, on a separate device or maybe in your laptop as well, open Facebook Messenger. Okay, so once you've opened Facebook Messenger, dun sa search bar, i-search nyo lang Digital Tayo. Okay? All right. So for Digital Tayo, we'll search for a specific account that has the tag business, and then you'll see the logo colored blue na nakalagay Digital Tayo. Okay? So once you're in there, you'll use the pre-test learn code, also seen here on the lower left corner of the slide. It is AHA AA03 or AHAAA03. Okay? So please use that learn code as well. So yung mga, may nakikita ko mga comment, mga walang volume, baka po nakakonect sa earphones or baka sa iba yung nakalagay. So yung volume check lang din po natin. Okay? So once you've done this, please comment on the Facebook live stream or even here in the webinar. Just comment Digital Tayo, and that's my signal na mag-ready na. Okay, so we'll be giving you 2 minutes, around 2 to 3 minutes to do this. It's very fast. We'll have our community leaders also guiding you through this. So if you're having problems with the actual test itself, just do the Q&A box on the webinar or comment down below, so we'll assist you. Okay, so try to click that. Again, it's Digital Tayo. And then once you're done, type nyo lang din Digital Tayo. Okay? So you have 2 minutes left. Okay? Or if you've done the survey before, that's fine. We'll just wait for the others. So habang nag-iingay tayo. Hello, John Angon. Thank you, Don. Okay, tapos na rin si Jermaine Dizon, sina Maria Estioco, hey, and Marie Balinas, Gerard Hueco. Ayan, dami nang natatapos. Okay, 1 minute left. Okay, that's actually very fast, and you'll be able to accomplish that in a bit. Okay, so this is for us to know actually, or to learn what our baseline will be, diba? And how we're going to be improving towards the end of the session. Okay, so don't worry. For example, if you're not able to connect now, just make sure you know what test to take later on as well. Okay, so there's a pre-test and there's a post-test for us to be able to know how effective this session will be. Okay, all right, marami nang tapos na, actually 30 seconds left. All right. Okay, mukhang marami na nga. Sina Carmina, sina Gerard, Mongalio, ayan. Sila Glenn, sina Ronald. Okay, I think we're done. All right. Thank you so much. Again, that was the pre-test, and at the end of the session, we'll have a post-test as well. Okay. All right. So let's move on with the actual session. Now that we know the baseline, now that we know where we're starting from, how about we identify types of information that we see commonly, the most common that we see online, right? Or on Facebook right away, right? So 3 types of information. We have the truth, the opinion, and of course, false news, which what we'll be discussing today. But before we discuss false news, let's sort of differentiate, no? Ano yung mga difference ng mga yung tatlong types of information. Okay? I'll give you a super easy example, and let's see if you can distinguish this with me. Okay? All right. So let's say we have an apple, right? Everybody's seen apple. Manzanas, diba? A truth is a statement that happened or that can be proven. For example, meron tayong manzanas, may apple. Sabihin ko lang, this is an apple. I can prove it, right? It has been established before, so that's a truth. Okay, but how about we take the same apple and make another statement? Okay, that same apple, now I tell you that this is the most delicious apple in Metro Manila, or this is the most delicious apple in the whole Philippines. What does that make of that statement? It then becomes an opinion. Okay, next slide. So for the opinion, this is actually an interpretation of a person. Lalo na sinabi kong the most delicious apple in Metro Manila. It's my interpretation. It's very subjective, diba, of a certain thing, and often cannot be proven. because it's my personal opinion and it's my take on an apple, right? So now that we know the difference, I hope you guys know the difference between truth and opinion. And now we discuss false news. Okay, so false news can be presented in a lot of different ways, right? Not even false news, diba? Types of information, those three can be presented in multiple ways. These can be presented, let's say, through a news article, diba? Sige, next slide. Again, manner of presentation, iba-iba. News article. And then an example here is, yun nga, di ba? Yes, we had mga periodiko, yung mga dyaryo dati, pero parang tagal ko nang hindi nakakakita ng dyaryo ngayon. Usually, we see it online. We see it on Facebook. We see news everywhere. So we have to know also, we have to be careful. False news o hindi? Truth, opinion, that's what I'll help you with later on, right? So another manner of presentation of information are ads. Next slide. For ads naman, these are usually defined or seen on Facebook as sponsored posts. Nakikita niyo yan? Diba? Or makikita niyo sa Facebook Marketplace, may mga nagbebenta ng mga produkto or ng advertisement. So the intention here is to really entice you. Maengganyo tayong bumili ng produkto. Diba? Pati dito, sa mga ads na to, kailangan natin na malaman kung ano, diba? Ano yung mga ways to spot kung okay, legit ba itong binibenta niya o scam? Diba? Eh, mga ganon. So we'll have that. Of course, we also have types of information presented to us in terms of public notices. Diba? So public notices, what I mean by this, ito yung mga government announcements, community notices, yung mga text, pag nakakita tayo ng text, sa mga from government agencies na nagsasabi, okay, signal number 3 na po sa ganitong part ng Pilipinas, kailangan natin mag-ingat. Ito yung mga ways to keep us safe, di ba? So may ganun ding type of information. And we have to know if that text, for example, considering this slide, no? If that text is coming from a legitimate source. Paano man natin malalaman? Ano ba yung mga tips na pwede natin gawin para malaman kung ano yung mga, let's say, phone number na, ano ba, totoo ba yan? Totoo bang may lindol o totoo bang may bagyo na papunta? So dito rin yan. Meron din tayong mga tips to spot those. But of course, we ask ourselves the intention of people when sharing information. So why is there a need to publish or share information online? Diba? So for us to understand or spot the type of information presented to us, we have to know the intention behind it. Okay? So for us to practice this, let's have a simple activity just so we could differentiate these different types. So let's introduce John into this webinar, okay? So John is new on Facebook. He just recently joined, and we're gonna help him, of course, identify the different types of information online. All right, next slide. So when we help him identify these different types, that means I'm gonna ask you, diba, to answer in a form of reacts or emojis during this presentation. Okay, so what's the objective? Check the information shared on John's page. Okay, so I'll give you the intention. Let me know what you think it is. So here are the instructions. So on Facebook Live, you just have to click these react buttons to let me know kung ito ba'y isang news bit, ito ba'y personal post, GIF or meme, ad ba to, or false news, or satire ba? Diba? So iba-iba. Diba? Iba-iba yung mga, let's say, description na bibigay ko. Tapos, it's up to you guys to let me know. Okay? Kapag naman nandito tayo sa webinar, just use an emoji. Okay? Dali lang yan. So as an example, let's do this. Here's an example. So what information is posted if the intention is to report or share information to inform decision making? Okay? Keyword, reporting, sharing information. And this is used, taken seriously for decision making. So again, the choices shown right here. Next slide. Again, news, personal post, GIF ba to o meme? Ads, false news, or satire? Okay? Keyword reporting for decision making. So these actually have high impact on what we're supposed to do, right? Okay, so may nakikita ako, may nagsabi ng ads, hindi po ads. Okay, hindi po ads. May nagsasabi po na, ayan, okay, hindi rin po siya personal post. Okay, ano natitira? Marami pa natitira. So correct answer is news. Okay, so again, these are the articles that we see online that actually help us in decision making. For example, Newsbit, okay, enhanced community quarantine, MECQ ngayon sa buong Metro Manila. Hindi pa rin lumabas unless essential. So, bibisitahin ko yung girlfriend ko. Hindi pala pwede. Kasi naka-MECQ. Di ba? So, yung mga ganong simpleng decision na ginagawa natin from day to day, of course, we take cue from news bits that we see online. That's why it's very important also for us to know if it's false or not, which we'll be discussing later on as well, right? Okay, so let's go through this exercise to know the differences between these types of information, right? Question. Magicking ko yung slides. Question. Boom. Touchscreen ba to? Touchscreen. Next slide. Okay. Okay, so medyo naghang yata yung slides natin. Next slide. Sige, pag hindi pa nagpapalit yung slide, makinig kayo sa boses ko Alright. So ito yung question ko. What type of information is posted to share personal experiences and opinions? Okay. Again, what type of information is posted to share personal experiences and opinions? Ayan Note, may personal na. Okay. So, choices. Again, you have these choices. News ba to? Personal post? GIF or meme? Ad ba to? False news o satire? Okay? Sige. Lumaki yung mukha ako Hello. Alright, so once again, news, personal post, GIF, ads, false news, or satire. So ang galing may mga nakakatanda nung emoji natin kanina. Tama. So again, the intent is to share personal views naman or opinions. This is definitely a personal post. Diba? When I say personal post, again, very subjective to what I want to say or my personal biases. And this is considered as a personal post. So let's differentiate news between a personal post. Diba? Kung personal post, dapat ba siyang gamitin as an indicator or as a guide for us to actually do our daily tasks? No. Correct. Jessica, thank you. No, Rico, exactly. I love it. People are answering live on our webinar here. Diba? No. Diba? It's going to be up to us, again, to spot na personal post to. It cannot be taken as a news article, right? Okay, so alam na natin, may dalawa na. News, personal post. Next. What type of information is shared if the intention is to humor? Nagpapatawa. Nasa question number 2 na tayo. Question number 2. What type of information is shared if the intention is to humor? Okay? Sige, ang galing ang dami na nagta-type. So again, nasa question number 2 na tayo. I think nag-hang lang yung slides natin. Question number 2. Intention is to humor, to joke around, is correct. Alam ko sabi, GIFs or memes. Diba? So again, that's the intention. Kung gusto ko magpatawa, alam naman natin yung mga GIF, yung mga meme. Naging parang normal na sa atin yan. Basic na, di ba? Katulad yung sinabi ni Chris kanina, sa dami ng gadgets ngayon, sa dami ng may access sa internet. We actually all know what these are. But do we know what it's for? And we have to know what we use it for, right? So again, going back to the first example, meant to make you laugh, to joke around. Pero meron pa rin sa atin na we're taking this as golden sources of truth na, okay, prank lang pala, pero kala ko totoo. Di ba? So again, we have to know how to distinguish these things, right? So reminder for these jokes or humor to be careful and not interpret it literally. Okay? Sige. Yan, nakakahabol na yung slides natin. Medyo may lag tayo. Ayan. Okay. Again, the agenda is to humor, be careful, and don't interpret literally. All right? Okay, so we're moving on. Let's see kung makakahabol pa tayo. Question 3. What is the type of post that aims to sell a product? Okay, again, selling a product. Okay? May sumasagot na agad, wala pang choices eh. Choices! All right. So again, ito yung mga choices natin. Parang challenging round, walang description yung choices ah. Pero you can type kung anong tingin nyo. Ayan. Ano ba siya? So tapos na tayo sa news, tapos na tayo sa personal post, tapos na tayo sa GIF or sa meme. Bale, parang tatlo na lang pinagpipilian natin. Incorrect. I see a lot of people already actually commenting this. It's an ad, right? So we see a lot of ads now. Marami na nagsusugputan ng online business bigla, di ba? So sa mga ads na nakikita natin ngayon, we have to know actually how true or how legitimate these products are before being sold to us, di ba? So ano ba yung mga tips? The next slide, please. Okay. Hindi ko man yung magic powers ko. Isa pang next slide. Okay. So again, these are verification steps on how to find out if it's a scam or if it's a real product. Diba? The online space is very big. Okay. So even if we're actually buying a specific thing, we will be able to research and read reviews, diba, of a specific product. Yung common dyan, asking of proof of payment, diba? Screenshot nga po ng nasend na yung bayad, diba? Or yung deposit slip, diba? Ask for the source of the products and other details, diba? Pag sinabi source product, bago ka bumili, hindi naman pwedeng base lang sa picture. Marami yan, di ba? Nagbibenta ng charger, pero yung picture may cellphone para lang ipakita na ito yung charger para sa cellphone ito. Akala mo yung binibili mo, may kasamang cellphone, di ba? So again, it's important for us to know the details of the product. And of course, check for alternative stores. Meaning, kapag may nakita kayong gusto nyong bilhin, lalo na sa online space, hindi lang po doon mabibili. Okay, hindi lang doon mabibili yung produktong yon. Okay? A lot of other stores are actually offering it 99% of the time. So you will have options, you will have the capacity. Again, the power is in your hands to do the research and you'll be able to know, okay, ay mas mura pala sa kabila. Diba? So again, those are the steps or tips actually to verify if products are real. Okay? So we're down to our last two, I think. Ito, dumadali na. Question number 4. What type of information is posted when the intention is both to humor and share opinions? Maraming mabilis sumagatan. Baka kumukopya na ng iba. Diba? Again, type of information when the intention is to both humor and share opinions. Choices. News tapos na. Personal post tapos na. GIF. Ads. False news or satire? Again, it's a combination of sharing the opinion and to humor someone. Okay? So a lot of people are already saying the answer. The correct answer is satire. Okay? So ano ba tong satire na to? Diba? Usually, to identify if it's a satire post, again, the author discusses a social problem based on his or her own opinion. Diba? But the style of writing or presenting it is very exaggerated or in a funny way. We would see this actually. There are a lot of examples in the United States of late night talk show hosts, diba? Usually they use this as their opening monologue and backed up more often than not with the audience laughing while discussing a social problem. Okay, so that's how they present satire. And this is you can actually search these online. A lot of good talk show hosts do this very well. And of course, when we see videos of this in Facebook, it's important to know how to spot this. And of course, these shows help us identify by, again, backing it up with, okay, exaggerated to dami tumatawa pero opinion ko to. Okay? So that's a satire. Last, let's see if you guys know this. What is a post that is intended to harm or deceive a person? Oh, may nag-all caps pa. Oh, choices. Kailangan ba ng choices? Parang alam nyo na lahat. The next slide. Okay, I think it's very obvious, right? It's very obvious. The answer is false news. Okay? Again, this is the intention to harm or deceive, diba? False nga, diba? So just to summarize all the different types that we discussed, next slide, please. We have the fact or the legitimate type of information can be presented in a news bit, but we have to make sure it's reliable, comes from a good source. Truthful ads. We have false information. Kung nakikita nyo, mas malawak ang naka-capture ng false information. So kailangan talaga maging maingat. And I'll show you how to do this later on. So mga clickbait, mga false ads, edited photos, articles. Kung sinabing edited, napakagaling mag-edit ngayon. Mga picture, di ba? Yung mga mukha na papalitan, hindi natin napapansin. Di ba? So false news. And of course, opinions can be shared or can be presented to us via personal posts, GIFs, memes, satires. And we all know this. We've been seeing this throughout the entire quarantine period, right? So we ask ourselves, so what are the consequences of false news? Okay, may false news nga nakikita. Next slide, please. May false news nga ako nakikita, di ba? Pero ano ba yung consequence ito? If I don't act on it, if I'm not able to distinguish if it's truth or false, ano ba yung consequence? Di ba? Next slide. So these are the most common ones, all right? False news, it may be just on the digital world, but it has real-life consequences. Okay? Una-una, damages reputation. Diba? We say it's very easy for us to spread false news, to say bad things about the person. But imagine yourself standing in front of that same person and saying the exact same thing that you typed. Considering it's false news, how does that feel? Diba? It's very easy to hide behind the screen. Because once you've typed it, you can log out. I'm done, right? I don't have to face you. But imagine that, right? What if you're in that person's shoes? And that's called empathy. Okay? Again, second, deceiving, or it can also affect personal safety. So we've received, probably, I'm guessing 99% of you guys have received texts na nanalo po tayo ng $10 million sa isang lucky lotto that we've never heard of at wala naman tayong sinasalihan. Pero nanalo tayo. Di ba? Kahit naman alam natin ganun, siguro sa mga nag-a-attend ngayon, basic sa atin, hindi totoo yan. Pero nakakalungkot po sabihin, may mga nasa scam pa rin po. Nag-click ng link. Pag-click ng link, na-hack na yung phone nila. Nag-click ng link, nag-fill up ng personal information. Di ba? Bank account pero may PIN. Bakit mo kailangan ng PIN ko? Hindi nila naisip nyo kasi nagdi-deceive agad sila. Di ba? Na nanalo na ako magtatanong pa ba ako, bibigyan niya nga ang pera Di ba? Usually, the golden rule here is if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Okay? And of course, another consequences is causes fear or panic. Di ba? Maraming, let's say, nagpo-post na ng false news about an earthquake that's about to hit the Philippines in 2 hours. Diba? That causes fear. That causes panic. Unnecessary fear or panic. And FYI, wala po nakaka-predict ng lindol. Diba? Again, how do I know this? Research. The internet is there as an environment, and we have the power to know more if we just know that we can use it as a tool to our advantage. Okay? So another question. Okay, these are the consequences, but how do I determine if an online post is true or not? Diba? So I'll give you some tips or questions to ask yourself to determine if this post, kung kapanipaniwala ba o hindi. Okay? So unang-unang rule, we have to stop and reflect. Okay? When I say stop and reflect, before you click that link because you've won $1 million, or before you share that post or you comment, you tag your friends, you like it, ask yourself these questions. Okay? First, who, what, and why? Diba? Who wrote this article? Who created this post? What is the information about? And why is it being written? So doon pa lang sa why part, malalaman mo na, ma-analyze mo na, ano yung intention ba? Bakit ba ito ginawa? Diba? Again, diba yung exercise natin kanina? You would know the intention. And if you know the intention, you would be able to spot what type of information it is. Diba? Yeah, may nagsabi, always check the credibility of the source. Diba? Hindi lang basta-basta may source, credible na. Diba? Ask yourself, who is it? Sino tong source na to? Kilala ko ba to? Credible ba to? Diba? Kung news outlet, totoong news outlet ba to? O ginawa lang to kahapon? Diba? Again, you'd be able to find that out by researching, right? Next, is this clickbait? Ask yourself, diba? Clickbait, marami na to. As in, legit, pinapakita lang sa inyo. Let's say, this is a real clickbait. $1 million, diba? Sino ba namang di ma-attract yan? Pero again, it's too good to be true, it probably is. Diba? A clickbait, again, is a term used to an information which goal is to lure the readers to go to a site. Diba? Usually, ito yung magpa-pop up or magandang picture ng diba, malaking amount of money. Sino bang hindi malulure doon? Diba? Ask yourself, again, too good to be true? It probably is. Can be clickbait, right? Ayan, may nagsabi, congratulations, you won an iPhone. Paano ka mananalo ng telepono? Nang ganun-ganun lang, di ba? Okay, all right. So another question to ask yourself, are the images real? Di ba? May mga marami nagpo-post ngayon sa Facebook yung mga di ba? Yung mga napapalitan yung mukha, pati yung video na nga, ang galing. Nagbe-blend talaga sa mukha, di ba? Kala mo ikaw 'yon. Maraming ganun yan, yung pangalan for fun na di ba? Kung ganung klaseng technology na gagamit for fun, ano pa kaya kung ang intention is to deceive someone? False news. Diba? Nagagamit rin yung ganung klaseng technology. Diba? So ask yourself, are the images real? This is an exaggerated example, but again, you can fact check images now. You'll be able to know if it's audited or not. Diba? All right, another question is, what is the source or where did it come from? Going back to the example, Lucky Lotto. Ano ba yung Lucky Lotto? Sinalihan ko ba to? Saan nanggaling? Credible ba tong number na tong nag-send sa akin? O parang regular number lang na pwedeng kahit sino bumili? Diba? Yung mga ganun tanong importante. Hindi yung hindi dapat ang pagdakita natin, oy, jackpot! Nanalo! Tapos yun na yun? Parang hindi. Diba? Mahilig din po kasi ako manood ng mga crime scene investigations So, doon pa lang, di ba? Makikita na natin, ang dami nilang tinitignan pieces of information just to investigate one case. This is actually a case, di ba? Again, check the source. Sinabi natin kanina, di ba? Okay, what are the details? That's another question. That's another point of reference or reflection. Next slide. What are the details, di ba? Dito mo makikita yung source, yung date, website, ano ba yung sinasabi niya dito, di ba? Another one, guilty marami sa atin. Maraming guilty dito. Nag-share ng post pero binasa lang yung title. Di ba? Binasa yung title, yung pala, hindi yun yung point na newsbit. Di ba? Nakaka-experience to. Meron mga posts, let's say April 1, April Fools. The intention is to humor, pero kala natin totoo. Kalimutan natin April Fools pala. Wala daw pasok bukas. Pero last year pa pala yung post na yun. Diba? Hindi ako pumasok kasi sabi ng Facebook article, hindi pa pasok. Pero last year pa pala yung shinare. Diba? Always check the details. Check the website. Check the date. Diba? Next, if you guys are interested also to find out because you actually can find out more about what you're reading in other sites. Check third-party sources. Check if site A is saying the same as site B. It's like you're validating it with each other. If that's not enough, check another one. Diba? The internet, even on Facebook alone, has endless possibilities for us to check. Okay? It's very big, and we won't be able to exhaust all the resources that we have. This is the kind of power that we have now online. Okay? So to summarize, here are the questions again to ask yourself to know or determine if an online post is true or not. Next slide. Is it clickbait? Are the images true? What is the source? What are the details? And can you also find this on other sites? Diba? In general, stop and reflect, and we'll be able to know if it's false or not. Okay? So just a quick exercise that I want us to do, just to review if we really know how to spot false news. Diba? I'll be giving you use cases. Okay, next slide. And you will be able to tell me through the chat box if you think that letter should be checked. Okay? Again, I'll flash these things that you can check to discern if a news story or post is true. And then these choices will represent the aspects that you have to check. Okay? To find out if it's real or not. Okay? First, how do we know if the news article is real or not? Do we read the About Us website section? Do we check if the post is from a close friend? Do we do domain checks, or do we also check the picture? It doesn't have to be just one answer. Choose all the letters that you think needs to be checked. Okay? A, B, pwedeng AD, pwedeng ABCD, pwedeng lahat. Depende sa inyo. Okay? So marami sumasagot na tatlo. Gusto ko yan, yung tatlo sagot. Okay? Kasi, ang tamang sagot ay, next slide, A, B, at D. Di ba? Medyo trick question din to for me eh. Again, read the about section, check the domain name or the website name, check the pictures. But even if a close friend shared this article, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's real. Okay? Pwede rin kasi na nabudol siya, di ba? Pwede rin naloko rin siya. Sinare niya, kala niya totoo. Hindi siya matendang webinar na to, di ba? So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Even if it comes from a close friend, we still need to do our own research. Okay, next, another one. Okay, ito. How do we know if it's real or not? A, shared by a group or page that you follow. Oy, idol ko tong page na to. Pinost niya. Totoo kaya yun? B, with sources or evidence from credible institutions. C, shared more than 1,000 people. Dami naman nagsasabi. Totoo kaya yun? Or D, check the author. Okay? So, tignan ko lang answer sheet. Dami nagsasabi ng correct answer. All right, the correct answers are, dalawa, B at D. Okay, again, checking the sources, if it's credible or not, checking the author. Who wrote this? Saan galing to? Sino to? Di ba? Now, relating it to A and C, hindi agad totoo porque ang dami nagsishare. Pwede rin kasi maraming maloko. Di ba? Hindi porket yung pina-follow kong page ay totoo na. Sige, sino ang nagmamanage ng page na pina-follow mo? Alam mo ba kung sino? Di ba? Ako, di ko alam. Dami kong pina-follow na pages, di ko naman alam kung sino nagmamanage. Di ba? That's already affecting the type of information being shared. Without checking the author, without checking credible sources. Okay? All right, last exercise for us. What do we check? Again, we have 4. Clue. Tatlo lang ang sagot dito. How do we know if it's real or not? What are we gonna check? 3 things out of the 4. Let me know. Is it the spelling? Is it the date of the post? Is it the date of the article? Or if the article is familiar? Okay? Hopefully this is Kumbaga given. Okay? So the answer is, or are, the answers are A, B, and C. Okay? So may nakikita ko mga hindi sumasagot ng letter A. Importante rin po na tama yung spelling, tama yung dramatic punctuations, all caps ba to, tama ba yung grammar? Kasi kung nanggagaling po ang news article natin from a credible source, they have went training, a lot of courses, pinag-aralan po nila ang ginagawa nila. So, bihira po sa kanila ang magkaroon ng spelling error kasi pagka nasulat po yung article, may nag-check pa sa taas niya, may nag-check pa sa taas niya. So, sinisigurado nilang tama, pati yung mga punctuations nila. So, siguraduhin din natin, di ba? Tama ba? Hindi. Sinek natin. Again, the dates are there, but if the article is familiar, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's real. It can be familiar because someone else shared it. It can be familiar because you have your own personal bias, but it doesn't mean that it's real. Okay? So just to summarize everything, these are the things that you have to check. Okay? You can take a picture if you guys want to spread this out, if you guys want to teach also your friends. Source, formatting, headlines, images, link, author, date, and ask yourself, is it a hoax? Is it humor? Is the intention the same as I'm interpreting it or not? Diba? Because you guys know already how to interpret by finding out the intention behind every post that we see. Okay? So, thank you, John. John, andyan ka ba? John. Next slide. Si John naman, itanong siya, alam ko na yung difference, pero what else can I do? Okay? Good question, kasi it doesn't necessarily mean that once we know the differences and once we've spotted what false news is we stop there. Diba? We have this social responsibility over our community to make sure that what they're seeing is safe and real. So how can we, how can I, how can you reduce the spread of false information? Okay? So here are some of the tips just to reflect, okay? Yung mga iba kasi dito, yung mga iba sa atin nakakalimutan eh. Diba? Okay? Next. Read before reacting. Okay, again, make sure you read the details, not just the title. Pause before engaging. Sometimes, if we're so caught up in our emotions, we engage without considering what we're saying, that we're already promoting negativity, that we're already hurting the other person. So we need to pause. Check before sharing. Same with reading before reacting. Check. Ano ba yung mga iba pang sources na nagva-validate dito sa news bit na to? Diba? All right, next. Recognize your biases and name your feelings. What do I mean by this? Okay. Anything that we share online or anything that we see online, we have to be self-aware enough to know that we have our own biases. Example, may nakita ka news bit about a specific person na nakakasira ng reputasyon niya, di ba? Pagkita mo, ay, oo nga. Ganun nga siya. Share ko to. Totoo to. Totoo. Oo, ganun siya. Alam ko, ganun siya. That's already your personal bias. What does that mean? Sinishare mo kasi validate mo based on your bias, not based on the things that we discussed in this whole webinar. You didn't check the source. You didn't check the date. Did you read it? Did you read the article or did you read the title? Diba? You didn't do your own checks. You didn't find out the intention of this article. You just validated it and shared it because you said, oo nga, parang tama nga. Ganun nga siya. Diba? And name your feelings. Do you feel negative? Do you feel positive about this source of information? And recognize this as a starting point. Okay, tama, mali. Self-awareness. Okay? Next, we also have to explore different news sources and perspectives. Kasi in anything that we see online, again, this would have backing articles. Hindi lang naman isa ang magsusulat tungkol sa isang napakahalagang bagay. Tapos hindi yung ang dami-dami na nating sources na pwede i-check. Different perspectives. Kung opinion man ang binabasa mo, hindi lang pwedeng one side of the coin. Diba? There's also another perspective to it. And of course, when appropriate, we have to call out specifically and respectfully. Okay? So, meron kasi tayong community ngayon na online na pwedeng pamilya, pwedeng malapit na kaibigan, pero yun nakakapag-share pala sila ng false information na hindi nila alam. That's why I said specifically and respectfully, because it's our responsibility as digital citizens, and becoming a responsible digital citizen means that we have to call out people or report people who are not really promoting the positive impact that we want online. Okay? So here are the ways, ito na, ito na yung mga gusto kong i-click nyo kapag nakaka-spot tayo ng false news. Okay? So may mga features tayo sa Facebook. You can unfriend, unfollow, and block. I'm sure alam nyo na yan. Nakapag-unfriend na kayo, nakapag-unfollow na kayo, and I'm sure nakapag-block na rin kayo ng mga ex nyo. So alam nyo to. Okay? All right. I'm sorry, can you still hear me? I'm hearing some interference. I'll just check. Just please mute your microphone. Ayan. Okay, can you still hear me? Okay, can you comment? All right. Awesome. Okay. So, now that you know these three things, what to do when you see a false news, false type of information. Meron po tayong report button na kadalasan hindi natin nakikita. Okay? So, okay, may malakas na hangin, no? Baka lang may nakatapat na electric fan sa microphone natin. So, paki-mute lang po. Ako, panatay ko electric fan ko kasi pausa-pausa ko. Okay, so pa-mute lang po yung mga may electric fan dyan para magkarinigan tayo. Thank you. All right, so again, report is represented, or the options are represented dun sa 3 dots on top. And if you guys want to know more about this, again, it's fb.me/reporting. But these 3 dots, actually, you can report a post while seeing the post. Okay, all you have to do is click report post, and then you click, I think it shouldn't be on Facebook. That's an option that we're presenting already. And why? I think it's a false news story. Okay? And of course, pagka-report nyo, hindi lang naman basta-basta na okay, ando na yan, okay na yan. Ina-update po tayo ni Facebook kung ano yung status ng report natin. Kung ito ba ay na-actionan na, ano na yung decision ng community managers natin, ano ba yung community guidelines na bina-violate nito. Okay? So again, this is very important. I want you guys to remember and to know how to report false news. Okay? So to know more about this, let's watch the video.
People come to Facebook to share their stories, see the world through the eyes of others, and connect with friends, family, and causes. The conversations that happen here reflect the diversity of our global community and often lead to new ideas, opportunities, friendships, and collaborations. Our community standards help you understand what type of sharing is allowed on Facebook and what type of content may be reported to us and removed. If you see something abusive or harmful that you think should not be on Facebook, you can report it to us by clicking on the report link found near the post, photo, or comment. Our global teams work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to review things you report and remove anything that violates our community standards. To report a post, tap the top right of the post you want to report and select Report this post. Choose the option that best describes the issue and follow the on-screen instructions. We don't include any information about the person who filed the report when we reach out to the person responsible. If you've reported something, you have the option to check the status of your report from your support inbox. Keep in mind that only you can see your support inbox. Visit the Facebook Safety Center to find out more. Happy and safe sharing.
All right, thank you. Ganda ng boses ni ate girl. Thank you so much. Again, these are the actions that we've discussed so far: unfriending, unfollowing, reporting, and blocking. Kahit ito lang muna yung tandaan nyo. Okay, ito yung mga implications. Again, maganda yung sinabi niya kanina, pag nag-block ka or pag nag-report ka, don't worry, you will be anonymous. Even if you're the one who reported to that person will just be objectively called out for that specific post if it violates the community standards. And of course, the community standards, it's available on Facebook. You just have to go through the help centers, right? So next slide. The help centers are there to give you assistance on how to use Facebook. So what names are allowed? Mga ganun tanong. How do I choose what I get notifications about on Facebook? So ano yung Facebook settings, paano ako mag-change ng password, lahat yan nasa help center natin, and we'll be able to help you guys disseminate this information as long as you know the links. Okay? So, facebook.com/help at meron din tayong facebook.com/hack. Okay? Kasi marami na nga na-hack sa atin yan. At least ma-report natin to. Okay, next slide. So again, we've tackled all these things. We know the type of information. Now we know how to spot false news. And now we know how to act on false news.